Have you ever felt overwhelmed, stressed out, like too much is being put on you? If you have, this topic might be exactly what you want to hear today. This is the topic that we talked about and the discussion that we had in today's dojo. So I'm really excited to share this with you because we had some amazing conversation around it. And again, you can join us live. I'm going to share my screen with you. You can join us live on Tuesdays if you want to be part of the conversation. If not, I put up a new video every week so that you can hear the topic and watch this video and get out of it whatever you need to get out of it. Now, last week we talked about stop starting over again. And this topic was specifically about when we learn something new and we learn, okay, I don't want to keep holding on to that belief anymore. I want to let that belief go so that it's not impacting me in a negative way. And then someone tells you, okay, so this is how to do it. And you've got journals and books and all teachers and seminars that we've attended. And you just keep seeking. You feel like, no, I need help again. It's not working. What was working isn't working anymore. That's what we talked about last week. So if you were unable to join us live or you have not yet seen the video, I will put a link to that video at the end of this video. But for today, we're talking about declining emotional invitations for overwhelm. So let's start with the dictionary definition of overwhelm. The dictionary definition states overwhelm means bury or drown beneath a huge mass. Can you feel that? Like when I speak that description, I feel it right here. I feel it just sitting on my chest. Oh, to be overwhelmed. I mean, that is almost a word that describes the definition instead of the definition describing the word. So the feeling of overwhelm, though, happens when we are overcome with intense emotions. These can be positive emotions. Like, have you ever said, like, I am overwhelmed with joy? I am overwhelmed with gratitude. I have this overwhelming feeling of gratitude. So they can be positive, joy and gratitude, or negative, such as stress and anger. And since today's topic is about declining invitations to overwhelm, let's look at the negative overwhelm that feels like unhappiness, losing confidence in yourself, or having difficulty making decisions. Why do we even experience negative overwhelm? The short answer is because we believe our thoughts. But we don't just fall into overwhelm. It shows up like an invitation, a subtle or not so subtle pull that says, look at all of this. It's too much. I can't possibly handle it all. And too often we accept the invitation by believing those thoughts. It's our own energy that causes those contractions. So let's look again at the definition of overwhelm. Bury or drown beneath a huge mass. When I was thinking about the definition, being underwater really resonated with me. Like I can imagine being pulled underwater and, just wanting to come up for air and that feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm being sucked down again and trying to fight for air. That's really what overwhelm, negative overwhelm can feel like. Like people are heaping too much on you, or maybe you feel like the universe is heaping too much on you. Maybe you've just experienced so much negativity in your life that you're like, I can't handle this. I can't handle one more thing going wrong in my life today. So, why would we even accept an invitation to feel that powerless? There's a few reasons here. So, familiarity. Overwhelm can feel safer than peace because it's what we've practiced. Calm can feel foreign, but chaos feels like home. It feels like what we're used to. Validation. Saying we're overwhelmed makes us look busy, needed, even important. It feeds the identity of I'm doing everything for everyone. I can remember being in the corporate world, and part of my job was to be everything for everyone. And so, you felt needed when people came to you and asked you for your help, even if they were dumping things on you that you just were like, how am I going to get this all done? But when people are saying, "Oh, she's amazing, she can do anything," we get that validation and we feel wanted, we feel needed because we haven't yet learned how to do that internally and we're still looking for it on an external level. And then there's avoidance. Sometimes it's easier to drown in too much than to focus on what truly matters because clarity requires choices. How about control? Ironically, overwhelm can give us a false sense of control. If everything is too much, we don't have to pick one thing and risk failing at it. We feel like, I've got this, I'm on top of the world. But really, it's we think we're controlling everything and we're controlling nothing. So, how do we withdraw, decline, limit, or remove overwhelm? By meeting the emotional body with awareness. Remember, overwhelm is an intense emotion. So when we withdraw attention from the physical body, the overwhelm lessens, making it possible to decline the invitation to overwhelm. Remember, your voice is your most powerful vibrational frequency. When you vocalize your thoughts, especially thoughts of overwhelm, any negative thoughts, you are projecting this frequency to form a future experience. So when you're saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm so stressed out. Oh my gosh, I cannot handle one more minute of this. Oh my gosh, it just seems like my life has taken this path that I can't handle anymore. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm drowning. I'm in this dark night of the soul." When we are projecting that out into the universe with our powerful vibrational frequency, we are putting something out there that has a potential to come back in form. Now, awareness is the first step. Once you see the invitation, once you're aware of the invitation, you can make a new choice. What if you were to pause and see the invitation for what it is? Just another thought, another story, another old pattern. You don't have to RSVP. All you really need to do is observe it. See it as something you're watching on a huge screen. You are not the one experiencing it. You are the one observing it. This is one of my favorite sayings by Lao Tzu. If you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present. So where is overwhelm? Overwhelm is living in the future, yes? Yes, it's a form of anxiety. Overwhelm creates anxiety. So when you are in that state of overwhelm, you know you are living in the future. Bring yourself back to awareness, the moment, the present moment. You want to stay out of the future. And so if you're wondering, like, well, what does that look like living in the future? Well, you're making statements like, I'll be happy when I finally get this report done. When the kids are grown and move out, I'll finally be able to relax. Oh gosh, what if this doesn't work out for me? I really thought this was the right way to go, but what if I can't afford that next month? When you are putting yourself in this vibrational frequency, you are putting a frequency of lack and limitation out into the universe. And if you continue to dwell on it, that is what you will draw back to you. That's what the law of attraction is all about. Projecting into the future creates overwhelm because you're trying to emotionally prepare for outcomes that haven't or may never occur. And that happens when we're trying to control things, doesn't it? Like, well, if I control all these people and all these situations, then I can be sure that everything will turn out exactly the way I need it to be. But when someone fails you, when someone doesn't live up to your expectation or doesn't do what you've asked them to do or told them to do, everything seems to fall apart. And it keeps you in that state of overwhelm because the nervous system can't tell the difference between an imagined future and a real one. So your body continually stays in survival mode. I know this was something that I experienced in a huge way. You know, having a childhood full of secrets, secrets that included mental abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse, that escalated to sexual abuse by the age of 12. Well, then when I got to be an adult and I was like, okay, I know that if I control these scenarios, if I'm only around these people, then I can keep this from happening again. So I always thought that because of I controlled my outer world, that everything would be perfect. But the traumas still continue to come up. The overwhelm of what I had experienced still continued to come up. It wasn't until I understood how to be aware, to practice awareness, to go within, to change things from within, that the without changed. So everything is internal first before it can be external. We often create the illusion of overwhelm with words such as, I should be farther along by now. I need to have this all figured out by next year. What am I going to do? I'm running out of time. These thoughts create overwhelm because it compresses your sense of spaciousness. You move from presence into panic, measuring worth by deadlines instead of alignment. We're so conditioned to creating a process to get what we want that we often look for a process to get rid of what we don't want, which also causes overwhelm because there is no process. There is simply awareness of what is. So when you feel like you're treading water or you're on that hamster wheel and you're trying to figure it out, the best thing you can do for yourself is to relax. You even know this, like even being in water, when you're treading and trying to move and trying to come up for air, if you were to relax and just float on your back, you've got all the air that you need. It's the same thing. It's relaxing, being self-aware. The seeking that causes us to accept invitations for overwhelm is due to the illusionary void we feel inside. Because this void is based on a false premise of the belief that we are separate and lacking. No external achievement can ever truly satisfy that. When we forget this, we tend to work harder and over effort, which often leads to overwhelm. When desires are not driven by neediness, but by a genuine wish to connect and enrich your life, these desires sprout an expression of gratitude. Gratitude. It's such a happy feeling. You just, you feel it. It's a relaxed sensation. When you feel the pressure of overwhelm building, take a deep breath and pause for a moment. Remind yourself that you can only do what you can do. Rushing only heightens that sense of panic and resistance. Instead, try to see each interruption, each new task as part of the unfolding. And it's unfolding naturally because you're allowing it to. Overwhelm is simply an invitation to accept forms arising in the infinite ocean of awareness. When overwhelm is noticed, close your eyes and look at the backs of your eyelids. This separates thought from emotion. As you continue to look at the backs of your eyelids, notice the form of overwhelm arising and how it only seems personal when you attach a story to it. And while you have your eyes closed and you're observing, ask yourself, who's thinking these thoughts? By observing without attachment, you'll begin to realize that you are not your thoughts. You are not the thoughts being thought. Feelings and sensations of overwhelm, you're not any of that, but the effortless awareness in which it arises. That's what you are. As the infinite being that you were never designed to live in overwhelm. That's the illusion of the small self trying to manage what only the infinite can hold. Overwhelm is just another invitation from the human realm, that dualistic realm, whispering, shrink into limitation. But you, the awakened, aware, sovereign being, have the power to say, no, thank you. It's as easy as saying, if you're a Star Wars fan, these are not the droids you're looking for. Think of it. It's that simple. You simply decline the invitation. There's no process to it. Nothing has to be done. It's just, nah, no, thank you. You can decline the invitation and return to presence where everything is already handled. Because when you remember who you are, limitless, eternal, unshakably whole, there is nothing to be overwhelmed by. Breathe that truth in. The infinite doesn't hustle. The infinite allows. Breathe that in. These are the topics we so much enjoy discussing at the Dojo, and I would love for you to join us live if you're able. If not, what did you feel about this topic while you watched this video? Did you recognize something in yourself? Did you recognize a way that you can be more aware, be as the effortless being that you are, and how awareness can keep you out of overwhelm? You can decline the invitation anytime. Isn't it wonderful knowing you have a choice? Life is all about choices. If you need any kind of support with this, visit me at masteringyourbeliefs.com. In the meantime, this is Nancy Muller, the one and only Life Sensei, saying ciao for now.